Awesome, what's going on, guys? We are midweek right now, Wednesday market breakdown, and it's looking really good. So, just going through this now, we have the DXY, which, if we look at it on the 4 hour, which is a little bit more clear, we can see that we're coming into this inflection point. We're coming with a bit of aggression, so we might see it today, where we actually tap into this. How we react to this is very important. Something else which you have to bear in mind is that how we're approaching it is in this descending nature. So this is definitely holding a very good positive confluence at this point, and it's more than likely that we might just tap into this point and just push up aggressively. Would I just take an entry on this line? Absolutely not. However, I will be evaluating on here to see what we do. If we do, start to trickle into this, then perhaps possibly we could look for a phase line entry on that, but it's not something that I would really be looking for in terms of refinement. I think the best thing to do now is just wait for price to just push up, create that first flag, swap over to your Euro USD and look for that entry, and that's basically how I'll be looking to take it. So want to bear that in mind, keep that aware, and then looking straight at Euro USD, we can see that Euro USD is actually coming up with structure. Remember, structure first, everything else secondary. So what we're seeing right now is that price is literally trickling up in this nature. Very nice ascending channel. This is a 101 trade. Very nice to have this on the back of EuroCAD yesterday, which we'll go into in a second. We are now seeing this come in here. This sort of trend line, yeah, it was a possibility as we were coming into this, but looking at how price was moving, we didn't get any commitment. We came down for 1, 2, 3, creating that very not so clean middle section, but it's there, has the validity of the middle section. And now we're just waiting for price to make its way to this high. Very, very more than likely that we might see price come into here, push up, push back down, retrace, and come in. So something like this, you could opt in for a risk entry. Understand the risk that comes with it. Understand that there's this small liquidity point over here as well. But given how this 1, 2, 3 is, if we do keep moving a little bit more slow, we could just move slower, and then eventually when it's ready, it comes up, taps into that liquidity spot, and then sells off. So that's something that I would keep my attention to and be very, very much aware of. But we do have this small override section here, so bear in mind that we don't have to come to that liquidity point. We don't have to fill the 1, 2, 3, but if we do, we know where we're positioning ourselves. So that's what I just wanted to pretty much share with yourself. And obviously, just to let you know, if this is pushing up aggressively and it's up here somewhere, take a message from the market and just wait for price to come back in, give you an entry, and then go with it. Don't just jump into the trade for no reason. And obviously, if the trade comes up here, don't just look for the shorts. If you do start getting something with some decent structure, you could then potentially opt in for a long position. Just understand where price is and what the possibilities and probabilities are. Euro USD is looking really good structurally, so definitely got that on watch. We had EuroCAD, guys, amazing trade from yesterday. As we absolutely were looking at it, we saw this 1 hour chart, more than enough, don't need to go anywhere else. We can see on the 4 hour as well, it's quite clear what we're looking at. Couple things, nice arcing nature, equal spacing, multi-touch identification, pattern within a pattern. Not so much seen on here because we do have that corrective momentum. However, structure is king over here. This was more than valid. A little bit of a refinement when we go into the lower time frames there as well. Comes with a bit more risk, and your trade will be there, and you're in the run. So you'll be taking this to aim for at least over here, which would be 8%, and then to the low, we're looking at roughly 10. Looking at where price is now, you can see that price is all the way over here. Another piece of data that I just want to share with you, and I think it's very much important, is that if I go to the 15 minute and okay, we just play this through as we approach the high, and over here, very easy to get caught out. It is what it is, and then price comes up, and then over here is where you want to really be paying your attention. So we go to the 5, and we can see that price is kind of exhausting, but there's no solid commitment. We're still in this corrective price. and then we get a push down. At this point here, you're not too late. We still don't know if this is going to create a 1, 2, 3 or whatnot, but what we're seeing over here is we're getting this accumulation over there. So you could easily just say, okay, well, if let me just go back one candle, right? If you look at it like this is where I think you have to be looking for it to understand what you're looking for, basically. Very tricky one though. So you could look at it like this, not the easiest for people to understand. You can go to the line chart, you can see it a bit more clear. The only negative confluence is you would have this, right? And you'd understand that, okay, fine, this could potentially happen, and then we could see price, come all the way back up here and sell off. Fine, fair enough. That's the only negative confluence. It does come with more risk because you are trading so high up. But then again, you have that. You can say, okay, I don't want to take the trade here because it can just trickle and go all the way up. So I can take the reduced risk. I can put it over here, put my stop loss just above, or you can protect yourself a bit more and say, okay, I'll give myself a little bit of extra room just to be protected, and then we can go with it. And then we wait and see, and then we see that price actually got its commitment rejected. Now we're tagged into the trade over here, and then you let it play out. There was a bit of news that came out which caused this spike. Some people would have been tagged out with the aggressive management. If you had a bit of more lenient, you probably would have been in there. It was aggressive, unfortunately. It was what it was. And yeah, so play it through. Now we're actually in a very key place. Once again, by the time you watch this video, trade may already be playing out. Yesterday, if you did watch the video in time, you might have possibly been able to catch that trade. How you looked after it, how you managed it would have had to come with experience. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are not experienced took this and they're out the trade already for like a little bit of profit here or there. So understand that. So this is the trade I'm anticipating. I am looking for something quite similar to this 1, 2, 3 in the nature of candlestick confirmation in this area, understanding that this is just corrective, but we could get something in the sense of this and so forth. And then if we do get something like that and that sells off, I would understand that. I would really and truly understand that. We had an impulse down, we had a larger correction and so forth. And the most important thing, if we keep it very simple, is that if we take this impulse and we move it to around about this area, and we look at it from the sell, it actually could be enough momentum for it to get to the bottom of this. It could even be more than enough for it to actually get to the bottom of this pattern. So, with that profit price target of 8% that we looked at originally, that's definitely on the table there. Now over here, I will be looking for more for tighter position if I can get it. I'll be looking for that AFT sort of style entry, but more than likely I'm probably going to take the hourly retrace if I can get it, because right now the pips size is not so bad. If I could get that 10 pip, which is something that I'd be looking for, then more than happy with that. To the low of this, I think I'm looking at roughly around about 12%. Yeah, around about 12-ish%. So if I did get into that, I probably would be out the market around about here somewhere, just with the aggressive management. So I would probably price myself for 12. If we get aggressive drop off, then at least then I can be quite lenient with being more aggressive, but we'll have to wait and see. So the trade is looking good, the context there is good, the quality is good. We're just waiting for this to be tapped into. Set an alert, leave it, and we'll come back to it. GBP yen is also looking like it's just in that very good valuable area. We have this larger time structure, which once again 1, 2, 3 equals spacing. We did get there very corrective, so it could take some time before we get that drop off. We could get a little bit of a spike up, catch people out on the wrong side, really get them convinced, and then start making the move. So I would be extra patient with this one and just understand that it's coming. There's going to be a big sell-off, a big retrace, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to look for, but it's coming. So just let this do its thing. It's going to shape up and it's going to be ready soon. Daily time frame, we have nothing really. We're not really gravitating to anything in particular. It's either up here or down here, and we've already broken this, which I think is a very important little hook point. But the thing is, if we were going to sell off, I think we would have just tapped into this now. This is where we will be selling off, so we would see it. So I think more so now we just have to wait and see, because a majority of the time, if that was the point, we would have sold off from here, but we didn't. So we just have to kind of watch that carefully now and just understand what's happening. GBP USD, I think it's better to be looking at it on the daily right now until we get the weekly, until we actually get back to this high. I believe we could be creating that M-star sort of feel, but it is getting that strong bullish momentum that we didn't want to see. We did get structural approach back, and now we're just extending. So we have this nice little arc. I would stay very sharp with this, because this is going to probably shape up very, very soon, if not today. So once again, just set that alert and we'll leave it on there. Next one is New Zealand US dollar. I think New Zealand US dollar as well is going to have to go off now. It looks like it's just making this very corrective move. It could be retesting the back end of this, which I think is somewhat level of possible. It's just doing its thing, man. Like, I can't really say much. See, EuroCAD has been tapped into. Now this is the bit where you want to be very sharp. So you could possibly just FOMO in this area as well. It's very possible, but I think more than likely it's now going to take people out of the market and then come back in. So let it do its thing. Understand that that's possibility and probability. We've got GBP US dollar here as well. GBP US dollar is just not in that area, waiting for it to get up here before we look for anything but a push down and a flag for sure. And New Zealand US dollar, same situation. Are we just retesting the back end of that? I think, as we just looked at. Aussie New Zealand dollar, I think it's just running channel sort of vibes. Maybe we're going to make our way up. This just looks like a large flag. Perhaps if we started retesting this low and then we start moving up, I might look for a long. New Zealand CAD, not really something I'm going to touch, man. It's just correctively squeezing like this. Not my sort of trade at the moment. Aussie yen, yeah, I mean, inflection point to inflection point to inflection point. Are we gravitating to this high? Next one, I think we're just moving upwards. Just have to take a message from the market, but each sort of point I'm going to be evaluating closely to just see how we react. Aussie New Zealand, very close. We have this sort of larger pattern here. I'm looking for price to just really push up, push back down. Something to wait for. There is some upcoming news as well, so perhaps maybe this can actually just give it a little bit of a push. USD yen, still waiting for price to get up here before I do anything. I'm going to set the alert because we do have a bunch of news coming out. Could create some volatility to get there, and then at least then I can be ready and sharp. EA, not really anything I'm going to touch personally. Nothing. It's just gravitated to a low, let it trickle, let it do its thing. And GB, Euro GBP, one of them ones, I think 1, 2, 3 to the low, come back up. I'm going to wait for the push up and the flag, and I think that's really it. I think eyes on EuroCAD right now for sure, and that's one that I'm going to stay sharp for. So we'll see how this shapes up, and then we'll take the message from the market and see if we get into the trade. But I think prime trade, as you can all understand and study, is this structure over here. We had price wick creating a high, price gravitated up, filled the high, rejected, didn't get a full rejection, rejected correctively, then we scooped back up, creating this nice little arcing sort of pattern here. So I call it a cup and handle sort of vibe, cup handle, and then we got that sell off, and now we're just creating a continuation to the downside. So if we can get price in this area, that would be phenomenal. If we can't, it is what it is. We see if price can create something a little bit larger, but more than likely we are going to sell off with this. So that's basically what I'm waiting for, guys. Have a good week, have a good day, and we'll catch you in the next video.